Welcome to BitBoy Crypto, the largest cryptocurrency channel in all the interwebs. My name is TJ, and I'm going to be your host for today's episode of Around the Blockchain. And man, today has been quite the day. If you're new to cryptocurrency, you might be a little bit nervous, you might be a little bit scared. If you've been around here for a while, you might be looking at this for an opportunity. It's been a wild ride watching the ups and the downs, but this is crypto. This is the world we live in every day. As you know, we join you 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time live 5 days a week to talk about the trending topics of the day. We gather some of our favorite people and personalities from around the blockchain to dive into these topics and give their perspective and thoughts and their hot takes on what's going on today. We'll be joined by always a crowd favorite today, CryptoWendyO, as well as Austin from Altcoin Daily, which, as you guessed it, they've got daily crypto videos, one of our other favorite top YouTube channels, as well as CryptoBlood joining us from the road today. He's on a road trip picking up all those Bitcoins that are on sale. So he took a little minute from his errands to hang out with us and give us his thoughts and perspective, because this is definitely not his first dip. And as always, Ben Armstrong bringing down the bat and cleanup, as they say, bringing it in, bringing the heat. He's got a lot to share, so we're going to have a really good show today. Some really good topics. Obviously, we're going to be talking about the dip. Probably the large majority of the show. Is it a dip? Is it a bear market? Is the show over? Are we all poor for the rest of our lives now? Do we just go home and hang out? Are you buying more? What's your plan? We also have, what do we think is coming next? Are we going to see a V-shaped recovery? Do we think we're going to go into an extended bear market, a long consolidation period before ripping again like we did in 2013? And then lastly, is there still a glimmer of hope? We've been talking about DeFi summer. Yesterday, at the end of the day, things were starting to actually look fairly good chart-wise, and we were starting to see some DeFi projects pumping and moving towards what we think was setting up for a really good DeFi summer. Is that canceled? Are we all going to be miserable at Bitcoin 2021? Is everybody selling their Teslas? Like, we're going to jump right in. So without further ado, we'll start with you, Ben. You were saying just the other day on this show that corrections, when you start getting over 40%, the bull market's over. Is the bull market over? Oh, there's the walrus.
Great.
Did you mute your microphone? We cannot hear you. Well, while he's messing with,
can you hear me now?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Yeah, that's right. Well, the pressure's on. Now, come on.
There you go.
Okay, so here's the thing. We had talked about if the market dipped below 40%, that would mean the bull run was over. But we also left the caveat of if there was something going on, like fundamentally, that caused it to dip very sharply, very quickly, then there could still be a glimmer of hope. And what we saw is listen to this. I actually got a text here just a few moments ago. And it said that basically, this is a third-party information here, okay? Basically saying that of some very high people in the Middle East coordinated together to sell this to buy back in at lower prices. And I don't know if you remember the story where they were talking about the $1 billion Bitcoin buy that somebody in Dubai was trying to make a few weeks ago. This guy's in Dubai, actually, and they said I could share it as long as off the record. So whether this is true or not, okay, I gotta say speculation at this point because it's a third party. It's not a direct source for me, but there's something going on here. I think we all understand that. When we look at, what happened with the 4chan chat, we can pull that up. We've actually got something we can show on that. There was a lot of people yesterday that were kind of preempting this and saying that there was something coordinated yesterday. When you look at, this is the thing that blew me away. Yesterday, we had the largest inflow ever for money into exchanges, which is bearish, right? Today, just an hour ago, $750 million worth of Bitcoin left the market in one spike. If that doesn't scream of coordination, I don't know what does. I think if you want my honest opinion of what we're looking at, because, look, it's kind of hard because in the moment you're looking at the numbers and it doesn't feel good. But the truth is that if we get like a V-shaped recovery here and we go back up quickly, I think we can be back on the upswing, but we got to hold 40K, obviously. We got to move up towards 45K. And I think ultimately what we'll end up seeing here, like this is just my prediction is that 2013, 2014, we saw a mini bear market in the middle of like almost 6 months. The last one, we didn't see it at all. This one, I think we'll see something in the middle. So,
yeah,
like
great
basically where we have a sharp correction and then a sharp, head back up.
So not necessarily direct V, but not necessarily an extended consolidation like we saw before. Somewhere halfway in between.
There's. Let me say it like this: we had 47,000 people watching our live stream this morning. All week, we've had over 25 to 30,000 people watching our live stream. Our numbers are growing so intensely right now, it's insane. What does that tell you guys? Like, we're growing rapidly. People are super interested in this market right now, more so than ever. How could we have a 6-month accumulation consolidation period where people are just lukewarm on Bitcoin? I just don't see it happening.
No, that's a great point. Like the amount of exposure Bitcoin and cryptocurrency has today compared to back then, 2013, you had to be on the fringe and very heavy into tech and alternative currencies and privacy and some of these circles to really for it to even be on your radar. So that's a great point. That lends itself to have a much more extended consolidation. So I think that's a great point. I want to kick it over to Wendy because you were in the middle of the same discussion, kind of predicting some dips like this. I believe saying they don't scare you, and that's when Ben was saying, well, over 40% could mean a bear market. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts. What's your take on this whole scenario? I know you spend a lot of time looking at charts, so I want to hear from you.
Pressure's on. Well, I actually pulled up a chart right now because that's what I do. And we've had from the top at about, and again, you guys, these are just approximations, so don't come for me to the penny because trading and investing doesn't work that way, especially when we're reading charts. We go by approximations. We had the top at $65,000, and now we saw about a 53% correction to about $30,000. I pretty much called it on the nose. Am I worried? Not necessarily. I'm not necessarily worried yet. And if you look at the daily chart, which I'm looking at now, I know I can't share my screen. I wish I could, but we've bounced way above an area of about $37,000 to $38,000. And I talked about this on my show last night. I thought if we broke 40,000, 41,000, we were going to go straight down to 30,000, which ended up happening. But I failed to notice a very important area of support at about $37,000. We're above that area, which is amazing. And that tends to lead me to believe that we could see some consolidation between about 41 to about $38,000. Again, you guys, give me a little bit of space on these when we're talking about consolidation because they're ranges. No one is ever going to call the bottom or top. So for me today, if we can stay in this range, if we can just sustain above $38,000, $37,000, I'm going to feel a little bit more confident. I'm going to feel good. If we get a close above 41,000, that would be great. I doubt it's going to happen. We've got about 3 hours left till the daily candle closes. But again, I'm not really worried yet. And even if we do dip down a little bit more, the next area would be like 25,000 and then 20,000. I'm still okay with that. I don't want to call for the bull run to be over yet because of what happened. And I know we're going to be talking about a lot of this stuff more, but we had some China FUD that happened earlier this week. We have India that's creating a brand new council to go ahead and like deliberate the crypto regulations. India has an absolutely large, booming, bolstering crypto community, and they have a large population. And then we had the stuff on 4chan we had that were kind of similar to what Ben was saying about the stuff in the Middle East happening. Plus we had Elon Musk, all that drama happen. So there's a lot of fundamental analysis behind this drop. People I know, my audience that I'm observing, they're not selling. They're not selling. They're interested in buying more. But there are some key areas that I do want to pay attention to. The key area of support or the range that I'm looking at is about 41,000 to about $38,000 that we need to sustain. However, we might drop below that. We might really test onto 30,000 from about 38,000 to about 30,000. That is another strong area of consolidation. And if you zoom out and you look at the daily chart, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So I don't want to call for the bull market to be over yet. I think we should proceed with caution. I think if you're interested in investing in altcoins, don't just market buy, 10% market buy to quench that FOMO and set limit buys and be very, very cautious what you do. Be very aggressive taking profit.
Yeah, no, that's a great point when you're referring to altcoins as well. We were actually talking about that here in the office yesterday. People were looking to get in on some different things. Everybody, it's amazing how fast things change, man. Everybody feels so bullish and so excited yesterday afternoon. They're looking at all these different projects saying, where can I get a good entry? I think Cardano, it's like, oh, Cardano just dipped under $2. It looks like a good buy here. And then boom, 8 hours later, it goes all the way down to $1. So, you know, that advice you said about if you've got some money on the sidelines that you're looking to get in, putting it in percentages over time, which is referred to generally as dollar cost averaging, like that's a really good approach for new people to get kind of blended exposure to when these markets are real volatile. And so I'm curious, you mentioned, you know, dropping from 38 down to 30, or we even this, which happened over the course of about an hour this morning. We actually on some exchanges even saw 29 and change, and then it jumped right back up to around 38. So if we were to see that scenario again that you just referenced and we get back down underneath 30 and it's in that 20 range, if you see 25, are you calling it there, or are you just really, really concerned? Or where is the number where you feel like it's too much for you?
Me personally, I'm a long-term believer in Bitcoin. I'm a long-term believer in cryptocurrency and blockchain. I like to look at the charts daily and decide daily. I don't like to be like, oh, if this happens, we're going to do this. I don't like to really trade in absolutes. So to give an area and be like, okay, obviously we would break below $20,000, like that's it, maybe even $25,000. But right now I just kind of want to watch and see what happens. I don't want to tell people this is going to happen if this happens, because we don't know. We can get some really exciting bullish news. Like we had some bullish news about Wells Fargo looking into custodian services with Bitcoin. So we have stuff like that happening, and maybe Elon Musk is going to flip the switch tomorrow and say, oh, I'm buying Bitcoin. We don't know.
Yeah.
So right now, I think we're in this Q2 scenario where Q2 is supposed to be the most bullish time out of any crypto year, even if it's in the bear market. So I think it's a safe thing to just kind of relax and watch the chart and see what happens and play it by ear and not trade or invest in absolutes.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And generally, when we think we know what's going to happen, that's generally the time something different happens. So I'm going to kick it to you, CryptoBlood. You heard Ben mention that stuff about the 4chan stuff. We had, like he said, the largest inflows onto centralized exchanges yesterday, massive amounts of Bitcoin that we've seen in a long time. And then today, a lot of it flowing back out. So do you think this is or do you think this is coordinated attack in any capacity to try to get a certain price point for accumulation, or do you just think it's simply, you know, new investors with weak hands that are just selling, or liquidated traders, or what's your take?
Let me take my stunner shades off for this one.
All right.
Listen, frothy markets are always looking for a reason to sell. So it doesn't matter what it is, Elon Musk, the 4chan stuff, it doesn't matter. It was a frothy market. It needed a reason to sell, and we saw a number of headlines come out to give us that catalyst for the downturn. Now, I've been saying this for like all year. I said we have to touch 20,000 again. In markets, I've been trading for over 15 years. Markets always retest previous all-time highs. I didn't know if it was going to come at 100,000. We go all the way back to 20,000. I hope that wasn't the case, but we're very close now. We saw a wick down to 29K, I believe, a couple of hours ago. That is, listen, I think we're going to try to touch that 20,000 or somewhere near there. I don't know if it's coming up like now, next couple of days, next week, but ultimately we have to test 20,000 again. So, I would just tell people, have some limit orders in around that area, above 20,000, maybe at 21,000, and you'll be able to sleep at night, I think.
Wow, so you think there's more to come? We're not going to see recovery until we see touching 20K, I guess is what you're saying?
Well, we may see a bounce, and we've seen a bounce on the 1 hour. There's a nice wick, and we may see a move upwards from here. We have to clear $42,000 to say we're kind of back in orbit. But this thing takes time to play out, right? This move that we've seen has been pretty strong, right? It's just selling. So I think you're going to get a breather. You may see a pullback up to the upside, but ultimately I think at some point we're going to have to try a capitulation moment at a $20,000 Bitcoin somewhere.
Wow, that'd be really.
Can I just
go ahead?
I just want to say one thing about that. they say that when blood is on the streets, buy. And correct me if I'm wrong, Blood, but are you out on the streets right now?
I am in the cold streets of Detroit, so I'm running around.
He's out on the streets right now. So blood is on the streets. Bye. I'm just saying.
There you go. There you go.
No. Yeah, that's good. That's great. And then Austin, I'd like to hear your take on this too. I know you guys do daily crypto videos. You got to get up and talk to your audience every day. You know, what's going through your and your brother's head as you're looking through this data? What is it that you kind of come out and tell your audience? Like, do you agree with blood? Do you think it can go all the way to 20,000, or are you telling people to buy here, or what's your approach?
Great question. And TJ, appreciate being back on the show. Great to be here.
Love having you. Yeah.
I would say that, I ultimately don't know how Bitcoin bottoms, whether local bottoms, whether it's a V-shaped recovery, whether we grind it out, or how low we go. I ultimately don't know. But something that we've been focusing on our channel is that in retrospect, we now know that the top for Bitcoin, 65,000, was at the Coinbase IPO. After that, Bitcoin started going down, and a lot of us knew, okay, it'd be a little bit of buy the rumor, sell the news. None of us were really projecting it would be this much of sell the news. But the two things to consider are, one, we went from 20K to 65K so fast that it's inevitable that we come back down almost as fast, equally as fast, then level back out. And number two, and this is something that a lot of people aren't talking about, that not on the day of the Coinbase IPO, but probably like a week later, traditional markets, the stock markets, started losing value. They started going down. And in short-term timescales, obviously everything is sort of correlated to each other. We saw that back in 2007, 2008. Gold tanked when markets went way down. That was obviously, worst case scenario. But on our channel, I guess subscribers of Altcoin Daily, we watched this video, we went through this a few days ago. We've been focusing on chain fundamentals. And what you'll notice, based on the research from Glassnode, from Woonomics, Willy Woo, a lot of these fundamental analysts, over the last 3 months, as Bitcoin has been consolidating, and then these last 2-3 weeks as we've been dipping, fundamentally, we've only been improving. The number of active Bitcoin accumulation addresses have been going up. The network, the value transacting on the network has been going up. And I'm not talking about today, I'm talking about over the last 3 months. Mm-hmm. And also the data points to short-term hodlers. They're the ones that have really been selling in these last 3 months, these last 3 weeks. And the long-term hodlers are buying the bags. So how long will this last? I'm not sure. But I will only be worried when the fundamentals start being bearish. And they still look bullish.
Yeah. No, that's a great take. We were looking at some of those same numbers today on Glassnode. Like you said, they're just getting healthier and healthier from a market perspective. All the data points are pointing towards more space to go up. And which is what we needed, this type of consolidation. So, and we also saw that same story too that you mentioned, like the people that are selling the most right now are these wallets that haven't held Bitcoin very long. So it's likely people that bought some, all this news comes out, they get scared, they second guess themselves, and they sell it real quick for a slight loss, or maybe even a substantial loss, depending on the person. But and then it is flowing towards people that have been in crypto and Bitcoin for a long time. Maybe a bunch of us here. So that kind of leads me to my next question, which I'm sure all of us are getting text messages from everybody and their mom right now saying, like, what's going on with the market? Should I be, most of us have been talking to these people for years. I'm getting texts from all of my friends like, hey, what should I be buying? Or is now a good time to buy? You heard Wendy mention maybe, dollar cost averaging in, maybe throwing 10% at something like that. So are there any are you just buying Bitcoin? Are you recommending people to buy? Are you recommending them to wait and see what happens? Are you telling anybody to sell? Like Ben, what's your take?
I would like to reiterate what Wendy said earlier, definitely. She said, we don't know what to do right now. And I think that's true. We need to wait and see what happens. I mean, even since we've been doing the stream, it's dipped, it dipped about $1,500. Like, it's now back to 37.6 at the current moment. Mm-hmm. Right before we went on air, within 30 minutes of going on air, it was at 40K. So it got rejected off 40K again. And the really troubling thing about what we saw last night is no support level was safe. It just plunged through everything. And with very little effort. And so for me, the advice I'm telling the people that are texting and calling right now, I think it's okay to stand pat with what you have, but I'm waiting to see some stability before I buy anything else. If I'm, a newer person in the market looking to add to positions.
Yeah, no, that's a good take. What about you, CryptoBlood?
Yeah, let me just say something about cryptos, and I just want to warn people. The wild wild west when it comes to financial assets and a new asset class. What I mean by that is, in, let's say, equities, right? They have circuit breakers, right? They have all these things in place for you to let the market calm down, digest what's going on, then reinitiate trading. This is the wild wild west, so people need to be very careful. You'll see big moves down. It can get really really bad really really fast, so just be careful. Dollar cost average in is the best move in my opinion.
Perfect. Thank you. Altcoin Daily, did you have anything you wanted to jump in there? Are you getting any of those kind of messages or any thoughts on that?
A lot of messages. And for me personally, I picked up a little more Bitcoin and a little more ETH because my limit orders were filled, with this massive dip that we just saw. When my friends ask me, I just tell them personally, for me, I'm sort of waiting till we see how the market sort of levels off. If you believe in what you're investing in, meaning if you think that big government, big tech, big bank overreach is getting better or getting worse as the next 5 years progresses, if you have a long-term mindset, then yeah, dollar cost average in, just like you dollar cost average out. We dipped pretty far, but in my opinion, just like if something goes up 50, 100%, there's not that much of a chance in the short term it's going to still go up another 100%. We just dipped under 50%. And by the way, we can still easily hit 20. We can still go down another 10K. We can go anywhere. We are in the wild, wild west. But on the way down is when you want to take out your long-term positions and then sell if you want to on the way up.
Yeah, that's a good point, and that's something that we've been hearing come up in a lot of our discussions doing the show the past few days. Is a lot of us here, obviously, we're invested in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies because there's some value toward the upside. But a lot of us here believe in a bigger mission, a bigger picture, and you start to hear that come out more and more as we're, as we see these dips. Like it's easier for us to hold through them because there's an ideological reason we're investing in these things in a long-term game. For some of the people that they're just doing this to make money as quickly as possible, it might be much easier for them to sell out, or they might get scared off a lot faster. So how much do you think that mindset plays into the decision making when we're seeing the volatility like this, Ben?
Well, I do want to mention a couple things here. First of all, TJ, do you look like Bobby Hill?
I saw that super chat. I saw that super chat.
Did.
Said, yeah.
I
We both started laughing.
I saw it. And then there was another good one that said, does TJ sleep at the studio? So that's what they want to know. They want to know if you ever leave.
Sometimes it does
TJ
feel that
gets
way.
Manny and Petties, that's for sure.
No, I.
Whoa.
No, we were talking. Yeah, but I sleep right across the street from the studio, so it does feel like I'm here all the time.
He does. Okay, but, can you repeat the question to me?
No, I cannot.
I can't remember.
Totally forgot what my question was.
People are saying, I'm just like, I'm reading the chat. I like to read the chat while we're in here. And the thing is like a lot of people are saying like, they look really scared right now. They look really concerned right now. Well, I mean, guys, the fact is, it is time to be concerned. Like, there is no question about it. Like, are we giving up? Do we think this is the end of the market? I do not. I mean, the factors that led to what we saw, I do not believe that. But, guys, I said the whole time, if we saw a bigger than 40% dip, bigger than the entire last market. Now, I will say we were actually looking at that this morning, and there was a 42% dip, like, in 2016. Like the first major dip was 42%. And then all the ones during the major run up were 35 to 40%, pretty much. They're between 30 and 40. We've now seen a larger dip than we ever saw. Now in 2013, we saw an 83% drop.
That's the larger dip we've ever saw during a bull market.
During a bull market, right? Because CNBC put out this number like the average dip is 55%. Well, yeah, they're factoring in the bear markets, So that's like just not a good comparison. In the bull market, we saw an 83% drop in 6 days in 2013. And then it ran up 1,000%. Okay. So what we're seeing now is it's not unprecedented. We have seen it in the first market, but all the numbers were pointing us more towards a 2017 type bull run. And now that we've got this, it's uncharacteristic for that type of bull run. So because of that, guys, do not play. It is time to be concerned. This does not mean go sell everything. This doesn't mean like as soon as it goes back up a little bit, you should sell. Doesn't mean it's the end of the market. But we should be paying attention to what's going on right now.
Yeah, that's really good advice, and that actually leads me to what I was going to ask for the next question is, regardless of what that number is, because it sounds like we all kind of have a different version of where that number is, where we actually start making moves. But Wendy, whenever that number hits, say you were to start maybe moving some things around, trying to protect assets and things like that, what is your strategy, or what steps would you take to kind of protect yourself? I actually heard a lot of people mention buy orders all the way down, which is something else we're getting asked a lot about today, so I want to talk about that a little bit. But do you have like a pre-planned, like if the price hits this, I'll do X, Y, and Z? Or is it, I know you said you're taking it every day, but what would be some steps you could suggest other people take if they wanted to start dollar cost averaging out, so to speak?
So this is what I do. When we're talking about altcoins, I invest in very risky altcoins and very safe altcoins. But at the same time, I understand that a lot of these altcoins, I treat them as small businesses. Most small businesses fail. And it's not because they're bad. It's not because they're doing a bad job. It's just stuff happens. There's humans running these projects. Even though they say that they're DAOs and they're decentralized and they're hands off, there's still humans running these projects. So if you're going to be investing in things, I get a lot of people in my TikTok comments. They're like, Wendy, I'm going to hold this for 5 years. Do you think that's a good idea? No, that's a very bad idea. That's dangerous. Yeah. Do not hold any other cryptocurrency besides Bitcoin for more than like 6 months, maybe. And I don't even like to really give a number. I like to take profit on the way up. And when I'm taking my profit out, I'm either taking it into Bitcoin, taking it to Ethereum, I'm taking it to stable coins, and sometimes BNB. It really kind of depends. So if you're not actively taking profit on your altcoin positions, start doing that. Don't wait till the last minute, and don't expect to hold this stuff through a bear market, because as all you guys know that are here on the panel with me, during the bear markets, things drop 80 to 90%. And a lot of these projects don't sustain. Actively take your profit. And I don't necessarily like the term, well, it depends. If you want a dollar cost average, that's fine too. If you want a dollar cost on Bitcoin or a project you really like, that's great. I don't really like that strategy so much when it comes to altcoins. I like the strategy of charting it out, paying attention to what's happening, being active in the Telegram communities, understanding what's going on the building wise. But I also like the idea of setting limit buys. And the reason why we want to set limit buys is because we want to go ahead and dictate where we are buying. And if your limit buy doesn't get hit, that's okay. That means that it wasn't meant to be. And you might have saved yourself a lot of heartache if this thing actually does go to zero. So stay proactive in what you're doing, actively take profits, and just kind of pay attention to the market, and don't trade in absolutes or don't invest in absolutes.
Great advice. Ben, were you raising your hand?
Yeah, I was raising my hand, actually.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. J.
You're welcome.
So I just wanted, a couple people in the chat were asking if Wendy could give a simple explanation of what dollar cost averaging is, because we got some newer people to crypto that don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. So if you give like maybe just a 30-second rundown of what that is, so people that are newer understand, that'd be great.
Dollar cost averaging is taking disposable income. Disposable income is income that you don't care what happens to. Maybe you skip a day at Starbucks, take that $20 once a week, Wednesday at midnight, and dollar cost average into your favorite cryptocurrency project. Most cryptocurrency apps will allow you to do this, but it basically means buying every week or daily at a specific time with a certain amount. And whatever the market, and it's market buying, so whatever the market's selling it for, you're going to buy X amount of that.
Perfect.
Great.
And then CryptoBlood, that's actually what I was going to ask you. Could you explain a little bit the concept of setting limit orders on the way down? Because there was actually 2 different people that texted me today asking me about that. Is this a good idea? How does this strategy work? And, I think a lot of people have done really well, because we've seen, like, when things crash, they can crash really fast, a lot faster than I think a lot of people thought they would. So talk about that strategy a little bit.
Right. Yeah, because we don't, again, have circuit breakers in this market, you'll have many flash crashes on various exchanges. So to take advantage of those opportunities, you definitely want to set limit orders. So those are orders that are all in the queue, in the trading engine on that exchange, and it's ready to trigger right when the price crosses that threshold. It turns into a market order at that point, automatically for you. So you're not missing those opportunities to get in at very, very attractive prices.
Yeah, perfect. And then and you can set those prices all the way down to like, so would you set one at 20K, for example, because you think that's where the price is going to go?
I would set one above 20K.
Okay.
So you don't set it right at 20, you set above, and that would be the big kahuna. That would be the big one. Like if you wanted to just mortgage your house, I'm not telling you to do that. Listen, not financial advice. I'm just saying if you're that crazy,
Yeah.
then that would be the area where I would say, hey, put your bulk order in there above, right above 20K.
Perfect. Yeah.
Nothing's guaranteed though, but hey, you know, that's going to put you in the best position.
Exactly. And you can set them all the way down. Basically, you set it at 29, you set it at 25, you set it at 21. And like you said, if it gets all the way down there.
You can have a ladder. Yeah, you can ladder trade into your position. So you can have multiple limit orders on the way down. That's fine. But yeah, you know, like I said, it's just a better way to do it, and you don't miss those opportunities.
Awesome. All right, well, this has been a lot of fun. We're right at our time limit today. Unless any of you have anything else you want to jump in and add, we will let Wendy take it away for 30 seconds.
Oh boy, big deal. Wow, I won. Congratulations to myself. Round of applause.
You get some
all I want to say,
confetti
you
today.
guys, yay! All I want to say, you
Wait,
guys,
what did she win?
She won. She had the highest score.
She won confetti
Yeah.
graphics.
Confetti.
that go over her face.
Confetti graphics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I want to thank everybody for being up here with me. It was awesome. Thanks again, Ben, for having me. Good to see you, Austin. Good to see you, CryptoBlood. But I just want to let you guys know the market is very volatile. Crypto and Bitcoin is still a very highly speculative investment and asset. Just give yourself a break. Give yourself a break. It's been really hard the last 24 hours. My portfolio is down by a lot. Maybe take a step outside, spend extra time with your kids. Maybe just no action is an action. And what that means is if you don't want to buy the dip, if you don't want to take this leverage trade, if you don't want to enter in a particular altcoin, just take a step away from the computer, rest, get some sleep, eat some delicious pineapple pizza, whatever it is. But sometimes no action is going to be the best action. It will save your portfolio. You, sir.
Huh? No pineapple pizza.
Well, always,
actually, you can't eat it because it's got vegetables on it.
Exactly.
that is true. Yeah, he hates vegetables and fruits, actually, for that matter.
And fruits,
so
yeah,
you know,
fruits,
it's a double whammy.
Great.
But
Look, I will eat some. No, TJ, you do not. Cut me
I'm
off
not
and
going to
talk
close
about
this show, I guess.
Do not
ahead.
close the show. I will eat bananas and maybe an apple, but not a cooked apple. And I'll eat green beans and a sweet potato. That's about it.
That's about it. All right. Well, now that we know what Ben will and won't eat, we will wrap the show up. As always, it's a blast having everybody here. If you heard anything you guys like today, please go to the links in the description. We've got Altcoin Daily, CryptoWendyO, CryptoBlood. They all have great YouTube channels and do an awesome job making content. They've got great perspective on the market. So if you want to keep learning more, please show them that BitSquad love. Go give them a like and subscribe. And if you liked what you heard from us, please drop some comments down below of questions you'd like to hear us cover in the future, and maybe even other guests you'd like to see on the show. As always, we'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, to break it down. That's all we got.